Everyone checking in on the market. So the S&P 500 continues its march forward every single day for the last 6 days in a row. We have a higher low. There is no indication of daily consolidation because we're not losing the hourly uptrend. So this morning we formed a higher low at 28.21.99. So that's now our benchmark level. And of course, resistance is going to be the high, which we almost ran to at the end of the day. So 28.35 to 28.22 essentially is the range to be watching into tomorrow. If we lose the hourly uptrend, again, we have not lost the hourly uptrend on this entire 6-7 day bull move. So if we lose the hourly, we zoom out to the daily and we just look for a higher low to form. And that consolidation is likely going to be healthy for a lot of names that are a bit overextended. IWM on the daily chart, again, still way lagged behind in the sense that we are very likely to stay within this tightening range. The last 4 days, we are just trading sideways to a certain degree. And we're waiting for a lower high to likely be set and to continue tightening on this daily chart. So today we had the high of the day, the low of the day, and then a bounce all afternoon. But the most likely scenario would be a lower high compared to 156.45, and then for this hourly time frame to continue to tighten up rather than just seeing continuation to higher highs. So IWM is still one of the weaker names out of these markets that we look at, just in terms of how much we have recovered from what we gave back and what we pulled back to start March. QQQ, we can see, is still in the lead with the bulls in SPY, 6 days in a row of higher lows. Last hourly higher low was set this morning and didn't really consolidate much after that, 177.59. Same thing as IWM. I would anticipate a lower high on the hourly is likely going to form compared to 178.99, and this hourly chart would continue to tighten up a little bit. Today was the financial sector that held things together. The tech sector saw weakness, as you see on the hourly time frame, and that's been the case really Friday and today, but it's been able to keep the market strong because oil's been strong, and today it was the financial sector clearly standing out for the bulls. So the financial sector has been a bit of a laggard. It was like IWM holding back a little bit, and then it got a clear bull break and follow through. Remember, QQQ got that daily bull break days ago, 4 days ago, and now the financial sector coming along for the ride. So 6 days in a row of higher lows each day, and the hourly higher low on XLF was in the afternoon at 26.85. So again, the hourly uptrend, the hourly higher lows are important on all these names because when it's lost, that's the first indication that we are likely to see the daily pullbacks. And again, we will anticipate pretty much everybody is going to form daily higher lows because of how much space the bulls have to work with. XBI resistance, 92.99, bit of a double top there, 92.91, and we did end up pulling back pretty hard into the afternoon. This is a much weaker bounce, and you can see that same kind of big pullback that we saw on QQQ and XLF, or I should say QQQ and IWM, but the bounces on those other two were much more significant into the afternoon. So XBI, we can absolutely anticipate a lower high compared to 92.91 is most likely. And the question is, can the bulls hold 90.74 and 90.43? If not, daily consolidation will be underway after that double top rejection. VIX on the daily chart today had a nice bull move, but by the end of the day gave it all back. The S&P 500 saw some strength in the last half an hour of trading. The hourly chart, one big bull start, gave it all back. So now it's giving us another daily lower high. 1830 was the last lower high. And if we pull back tomorrow, back down towards 1250, the recent low, that'll be a new 1380 lower high on this pullback. Oil, there's that strength on the daily time frame. And at this point, oil over the last 6 days has gone 8 to 9%. So extremely strong, not losing the 4 hour. Well, I take that back. We did actually lose the 4 hour uptrend back last week very temporarily, and the bull certainly recovered from it. But it's a similar pattern with higher low almost every day, aside from back on Thursday, or I should say back on Friday. But as long as oil keeps this strength up, we're going to be looking for the market bulls to keep their strength up as well. Unless we see the financial sector weak, the tech sector weak, and oil weak, we're not going to see any significant market consolidation. And that's been able to keep us focused by looking at individual names. So I could look at XLF today and see it up at the high of the day in the morning, and I can see SPY start to pull back. And I can very clearly say to myself, if XLF doesn't hit a new low of the day, SPY bears are not going to get any follow through. Yes, they can pull back with tech sector weakness, but if the financial sector is holding strong when we see tech sector weakness, the S&P 500 is going to be held up to a certain degree. It won't be significant pullback at all. We have to see both going in the same direction. And of course, we've seen both going in the same direction to the upside over the last week, which is why this bull move has been so strong over that time. Natural gas on the daily time frame up at key resistance. We have the double top. We have support of 2749. We have another double top. It's actually a triple top. And we're testing that overnight. So 2852 and 2854 are these resistances. If the bulls can break those levels, 2889 is next. And have to see that bull break in order for the weekly trend to see a higher low very briefly and then continuation on this follow through. So key resistance tests approaching, and we have a new support level at 2772 on the daily time frame. So bottom line is absolutely, I'm going to be looking for daily consolidation on the S&P 500. There's opportunity in the volatility index, in my opinion, for whether it's TVIX or UVXY. When that consolidation does happen, I'll probably just begin scaling into SPXS tomorrow if we see more green, knowing that the RSI on the daily is approaching historical pullback levels, knowing that we've seen higher lows 6 days in a row, and that pattern is going to likely break in the near-term future. So I'm not sure what my game plan is. It all depends on what the open is each morning. I've been taking advantage of the MJ sector bullish to take advantage of the market strength, as that has certainly helped the marijuana sector. But other than that, patiently waiting for this healthy consolidation that we are going to look for sometime within the next day or two, in my opinion. Hope you're well. We'll check back in tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Hey, everyone. For this chapter, what are we on? 11 something. We're heading over south, so just curled around, pretty much entered the middle of the state, Colorado, from the east, went through Boulder, went through Rocky Mountain National Park, went over into Aspen area, and then curled down into the south into Durango. And this is a little colorful rainbow lizard guy on his way. So I went to Mesa Verde National Park, which is a beautiful spot. And you can see how the landscape has changed from the giant mountains into more of a arid, deserty kind of feel. They've got Great Sand Dunes National Park down in this area of the state as well. But this is the area where they built right into the cliffside walls thousands of years ago. And these tribes are so fascinating with what they did. The soft sandstone, you can see where their handholds were as they would climb in and out of these valleys. And they would use them for, I should say, in and out of these, the side of these cliffs. They used them obviously for protection, and they had some really cool construction that's still around these days. And the petroglyphs are everywhere. And petroglyphs are really everywhere in the southwest part of the country, as well as the middle of the country here in Colorado. And it's really cool to just see, to stand literally where someone stood thousands of years ago and drew something that they felt was important enough to try and have it etched into time. And in a lot of instances, there's these common themes, like these swirls. We'll look at some more that I went to in Utah, but there's so many places where you can literally just, drive on a dirt road up to these petroglyphs and check them out with, no fees, no tours, none of that. They're just right there, which exposes them to, graffiti or whatever. But fortunately, some of them are left alone, but a lot of cool different swirl things. We can only speculate as to what they were trying to show. And another cool thing that this tribe of Native Americans did was they pretty much selected seeds, genetic modification in a more natural way, not, splicing genes and stuff, but they would save seeds from certain strains of grass, and they created corn out of a strain of grass. So this is what it looks like in terms of, the valley that they were inside of on the sides of the cliffs. But they would take these strains of grass and save the seeds for the ones that had the biggest, seeds. And then just over thousands of years, they ended up with a crop that had a head of fat corn. And it doesn't look like the corn that we have today, obviously, because that's just using further science to get it to the point where we want it. But a lesser degree, they were using genetic modification and seed selecting to create a crop. So, quickie chapter here. We're going to head on over to Telluride next. I love Telluride. Ended up impromptu stopping at a music festival, the Ride that they have every year, and met someone through couch surfing. I've never stayed in anybody's place during couch surfing, but got some great tips on volunteering at this music festival and a place on where to camp for free right outside of town. And that was a wonderful, again, just another unexpected stop. It seems like the highlights of my entire trip were all ones that I didn't plan and were all from word of mouth from other people who knew better than I. So we'll head on down there and again, check out Colorado and Utah. Great 2 states right next to each other. You can make it, a week or 2 road trip and get a lot of sightseeing. I mean, you could really make it a 2-month road trip if you wanted to, but those 2 states together, just the fact that they're next to each other and there's so many national parks within a pretty close radius, I would suggest it. So we'll check back in. Hope you have a good rest of your day. See you soon.